All right, hello, this is Luke Klooster with Irish Sports Network, and we have Finn Greenan here, the starting center for our offense. So Finn, obviously, we just beat Eastside last week, rivalry game, high pressures. Obviously, everybody was feeling the pressure of the game beforehand. Tensions were high at school, everything else. Were there any pressures that you had to feel like either during the game, beforehand, that you just kind of hard to deal with, or?
For sure, yeah. So we knew that a lot of their guys were coming back from last year. We knew that they were going to have a strong defensive line and that they were going to have probably one of the better linebacker cores. So definitely going into that game, we kind of game planned of how we were going to block it, how we were going to do certain schemes, and so that was definitely pressure to make sure that we were blocking those correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that your practices really helped with that? Like, did you set it up pretty well during practice?
Yeah, and definitely, yeah. Our scout team gives us a great look. Joe, our actual starting linebacker, plays scout team, gives us a great look. Always goes hard, so that helps.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And then just to go off of that, were there any other challenges? Like, is there anything that needed really worked on, or the coaches pointed out during the game?
Yeah. So their nose guard actually is considered one of the better nose guards in the state. So we definitely game planned to block him, and I had him all game. So
yeah,
we definitely had to. That was probably the biggest challenge of the night, was just making sure that he stayed off our running backs. So
that's good. Yeah. So I mean, identifying that early is obviously a really good thing to have.
Yeah, that helped us early.
Yeah. So were there any adjustments you guys had to make mid-game that ended up being pivotal?
Yeah, so they decided to change how they ran their front a lot in the game. So depending on how they were running their fronts, depending on what their linebackers were doing, we had to adjust on the fly. And those little adjustments helped us to get those bigger runs in the game that we saw later, especially that first run in the third quarter kind of sealed the start of the game, and then that run later on in the fourth that just finished the game, give us that PAT and helped us win that game. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, being at O'Day, the running game is obviously our biggest threat, especially with having Jason Brown and other people. Mm-hmm. Is it a pretty big stress reliever knowing that you don't have to make holes very big? You just have to just get the guy out of the way.
Yeah, we always say we don't need to give him much, and he'll figure out how to do the rest. So yeah definitely having a running back like Jason helps us.
Oh, I'm sure. So. Well, thank you for doing the interview.
Thank you.
This is Finn Greenan. I'm Luke Klooster signing off with Irish Sports Network.